I've got to be honest with you. There are going to be some of you in today's broadcast that are not going to like what I am going to say. However, because I am an honest journalist, I am going to tell you the truth of what I feel is going on. And what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Trump's new partnership with Palantir, right? President Trump, Palantir, possible partnership. And this particular partnership, and this is the organization here, you can kind of see them flashing across the screen there, but it's an AI-powered kind of system that Donald Trump is intending on using within the government agency. And I've got a real issue with this kind of technology that I need to bring to your attention. Now, with that said, before I dive into it all, I've always told you guys that if I don't agree with something that Donald Trump has said, I will tell you. In this case, I don't agree with Donald J. Trump. I'm not going to be one of those people who follow hook, line, and sinker everyone. I am not that kind of person. And quite frankly, if anybody does that, I would hearken you to stay away from them because they can pretty much justify any deed or action from said person. I am not going to do that. In this case, I am very unhappy with Donald Trump, and I'm questioning, is Trump going to use Palantir to make some kind of American hit list, so to speak, or target list, or have this massive database on the American people? Now, I understand that systems like this do exist today, but we're talking about AI style technology, which scares the living shit out of me. And I think some of you as well. But let's dive into this, okay? Because there are some pretty crazy details that involve Bilderberg members being linked to this. And that's just scratching the surface. Let's start with this article here. What is it and what is it about? Well, this is on nextnewsnow.com. President Trump, Palantir's possible partnership. What to know? President Trump and Palantir reportedly partnering for a centralized database. That's kind of the gist of it. It goes on. Palantir Technologies is a data and technology firm co-founded by Peter Thiel, Stephen Cohen, Joe Longsdale, and Alex Karp. The company began in 2003 and specializes in software platforms for people. It has four main projects: Palantir Gotham, Foundry, Apollo, and AIP. So it's got different sections of this thing, right? It goes on to describe that Trump has stated that Palantir would use the tracking data to help protect citizens and provide better all-around assistance. And then it goes on to state that critics, however, like myself, and I'm going to scroll down because that is freezing up on me, but critics say that it could be a surveillance nightmare. Dun, 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 kind of, cue the music there. Now, before I dive in any deeper, I want to remind you, subscribe to the channel, hit that sub button. And when you do, make sure you go all the way up to that all bell button and check it, and double check your subscription, by the way, to make sure you have that notification, because YouTube is yet again not sending it out unless that bell is checked. Outside of that, please also make sure you like the video and give it a thumbs up. But more or less, I want to encourage you, get to restrictedrepublic.com right now, hit the pause button, go sign up. I've got massive exclusive articles that are just on that platform that you are missing out on. I don't post them here on YouTube for multiple reasons, but go to restrictedrepublic.com. You can support me there. This is one of my main sources of funding there. Use the coupon code Lisa and the number 5 to get it for $5 per month. That is less than a cup of coffee or a glass of beer. So check it out. Get to restrictedrepublic.com. Really hope to see you there. But with that, there are a lot of fears that Palantir, could be used to create some kind of mega database. This is what people on the left and the right, by the way, are really afraid of, including myself, by the way. But here's this, and this is on upolitics.com. You can see it at the top, but here it says, Trump grants tech firm Palantir power to create mega database of Americans' personal information across federal agencies. Trump has been utilizing the work data analysis and technology company Palantir to advance efforts to create a database filled with personal information on American citizens by sharing data across federal agencies. After signing an executive order in March that required federal agencies to share data, which he did, Trump has expanded the use of Palantir with more agencies, utilizing the company's technology to merge information seamlessly. Now, Palantir has received over $113 million in federal government spending, that's your money, since the beginning of Trump's second term. Palantir was recently awarded substantial $795 million contract from the DoD, which has yet to be utilized. So, a lot of critics are worried that this could create a mega database used within all the federal agencies. Quite frankly, it terrifies me. And by the way, there is a rumor, and I'm going to just sit it at that. There is a rumor that this very technology was behind the pager explosions years ago. Right now, it's just a rumor. I don't know any truth to that, but this could have been the technology that was reportedly used. Now, let's go on over to what some people on our side are stating about this, because Palantir itself is stating that no, we don't collect data. Like they've got a whole article on it, and they're saying that, it's not a data company. Or a data aggregator. And they say they don't collect, store, or sell personal data. They don't use personal data to train, AI or machine learning models, yada, yada. And that's their claim, right? They say we're just simply a software company and the software brings it all together. This is their claim. To kind of give you an idea. Now, here is their founder, one of them, right? And you can see I founded Palantir. And here's what he says: Palantir's not a database. It's a platform created by thousands of the most talented and patriotic Americans to partner with our DoD to stop attacks and defend bad guys while protecting liberty and privacy. And a sad turn of events, he goes, account as self is in fact retarded or whatever. I'm not even going to say that part. But anyway, there's that. So that's one of their founders. Of course, they're going to say that. Now, here's an article that I found on Zero Hedge that I found, informative. Gives me some hope that maybe that's not what it's about, but whatever. I've got more stuff to show you that you're going to want to hang on to. You're going to want to see, because some of these founders are not good people. And they're linked to organizations like the Bilderbergs. But anyway, here we have Palantir co-founder Joe Longsdale and former executive refute New York Times report warning over surveillance master list. Now, I don't give any credence to the New York Times either. However, I am worried that it could do something like this regarding that program. But here's what they try to refute, right? This is some on our side saying, there's a bunch of inaccuracies regarding Palantir. And here's their inaccuracies. And I'm going to go through these quickly, right? As quickly as I can. But number one, inaccuracy. They say an inaccuracy is the headline "Trump taps Palantir to compile data on Americans" is fundamentally wrong. They don't do that. They provide software that helps organizations analyze data that organizations already possess. That doesn't give me any faith at all. So the alternative is they take all that information and organize it to make it more more readable to the average person. Okay, not much of a difference in my opinion. Inaccuracy number two, the article suggests that it is building a master database. That's not how Foundry works. It's a data integration platform that connects to existing systems. Okay, so they're enhancing existing systems, which are already pretty crappy because they all collect information on us. Number three, inaccuracy, which would easily merge data on Americans. This framing makes standard enterprise data integration sound sinister. Many companies and government agencies use similar tools to work with data across multiple systems. This isn't unique or nefarious technology. In other words, because everybody else does it, we're going to do it too. And I've called out some of the other programs that have done it. This isn't giving me hope so far. Inaccuracy number four, the article seems to conflate what software can do with what it is doing. Yes, data integration tools can theoretically be misused. Okay, anything can be misused. And yeah, this is one of the fears I have with it, is that especially if some dictator gets into office and misuses it. obviously a fear. So some of these aren't helping. But inaccuracy number 5, describing routine government IT modernization as surveillance infrastructure. Agencies updating their data systems and analyzing capabilities is normal. Again, everybody does this. It's okay for us. And here's what they say is their whole enchilada accurate statement. Palantir has said they're a data processor, not a data controller. Clients define what data is accessed and how it's used. This is a crucial distinction the article glosses over while creating surveillance panic. Again, Palantir does not collect, store, or sell personal data. The article takes standard enterprise software functionally and frames it as dangerous surveillance tech. It's like writing a scary article about Excel because it could be used to track Americans if someone put personal data in spreadsheets. Palantir is a public company in a democracy with a robust First Amendment. Of course, there are legitimate things to scrutinize and criticize, from contracts to clients to strategy. Dr. Karp himself has said countless times, we built Palantir with the idea that dissent is not only acceptable but required, but don't misrepresent what their software does. Facts matter. Okay, let's say, all right, good, all right, all good, kosher, we're good with that. Okay, so here's some more problems I have with it, right? We all know Peter Thiel is one of the co-founders there, and he has donated to political causes. Here's Financial Times. You can see Peter Thiel, political force, bankrolling Trump-friendly Senate bids. So he's throwing a lot of money, and obviously he threw over $10 million to J.D. Vance in Ohio and Blake Masters here in Arizona. I'm not against that. You want to fund and send your money to Republican candidates? We need some people to do that. Not a bad thing, right? So I'm no fan of Peter Thiel, but if he wants to throw money at Republicans, I support that because we need some of that here in our country. Just being real. We can't have the Democrats. The Democrats have like George Soros and everybody under the sun that's funding him. If we don't have any millionaire that can fund us, we're dead in the water, right? Again, not a fan of Peter Thiel. However, his little co-partner here, which is Alex Karp, this guy gives me the freaking creeps, and you're going to see why, right? Even if the people on our side are okay with that, like I still have issues with a lot of this. And here it is. Palantir CEO backs Kamala Harris and says that co-founder Peter Thiel's support of Trump made it harder to get things done. So his co-founder, he doesn't like the fact that he supported Trump. And this guy, Mr. Alex Karp, supported Harris. But that's not even the half of it. Take a look at what he says here. And this is why I'm avidly against Palantir. He actually says in this video clip that one of the programs within Palantir, he calls it PG, right? Gotham PG. He calls it PG. Palantir Gotham. Single-handedly stopped the rise of the far right in Europe. Take a listen.
Look, we built PG, which single-handedly stopped the rise of the far right in Europe. We built Foundry, which was used to distribute the COVID vaccine and saved millions of lives globally. We built what we call multi-constellation, what's often called the digital kill chain. And they're category-defining products. So when you deliver these products to the market, just honestly, people say this isn't going to exist, this isn't valuable, but then it changes the market. And then the market is the Palantir market. Now, that doesn't mean everyone in the world is going to buy our product, but it means most of the sensible people in the world are going to buy from the category we defined.
Wow. Wow. But you heard him. And Laura Loomer is actually calling this out as well, but he single-handedly stopped the rise of the far right in Europe. Is that what they're going to use this program to do here in the United States of America? Just saying, asking the question. Here he is again. And in this clip, I want you to listen closely. But what he says is our primary goal is to set a global standard for world behavior. This is the CEO of Palantir. Take a listen.
Then we were asked if we were willing to supply our product philanthropically, basically for free, and I was very in favor of this because our primary mission is, in fact, to set a global standard for the world for behavior.
Set a global standard for the world for behavior. What the hell do you mean by that? Oh, by the way, both Peter Thiel and Alex Karp are well, went to Bilderberg meetings. Let me take you to the Bilderberg website, which I've covered this in detail many times. This is Bilderberg meetings. You can get it on their website, bilderbergmeetings.org, where they actually detail all the meetings. Well, I went back to 2022, right, to give you an idea. Here's the list of the people who participated. We're going to scroll down to these names here so you can see them, which gives me the heebie-jeebies, obviously, in and of itself. Here it is. Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir Technologies, right under Mr. Kissinger, a radical leftist donator in the past, but anyway, or whatever, but we have Alex Karp. And then scroll down a little bit more, and this is publicly known. Peter Thiel is also on the list, and he donates more to the right, but here we have Peter Thiel, USA, President, Thiel Capital, LLC. So I guess the bottom line is, I know some people on our side are okay with it, right? I get that, whatever. I'm just going to happily disagree. Does that mean me and Trump are at odds with each other? No, I support Trump all the way. I just don't toe the line of everything he says. In this case, I don't like what he's doing. I don't like what Elon Musk is doing with brain chips, but I support him on what he is doing with X and what he has done with Doge, right? I don't support Donald Trump in this particular area, but I support him in a lot of the other things that he is doing. But I got to tell you, this kind of technology, AI technology that is gathering information that's already out there and happily putting it together in a brand new package to have a detailed picture of who we are, that gives me a concerns. I don't care if it doesn't collect data, it collects the data that's already used by these other companies. But big diff. So what? It's still getting that information and organizing it for the federal government. What if a bad person, what if another Obama or Biden get in charge, which they will? That's the thing. And then we have people, the founders, they're out there saying things like, we used it to wipe out the far right in Europe. The same stuff that they now want to implement in America. I'm sorry I have issues with this. I'm not sorry, actually. I have some major issues with this. I like Donald Trump. I like what he does. I don't like this particular program. And the scary truth is we live in a generation where something like that is eventually going to happen, be it some dictator or whomever it is. I understand they're trying to get above the curve or whatever, but this is some scary stuff, especially when you have studied AI in depth. This isn't the kind of stuff that we want, gathering information in some way, shape, or form on the American public. So I hope that makes sense to everybody out there, but I really did want to do, and like I said, I obviously support Donald Trump. I'm pro that, but if there's something that he's doing that I disagree with and that you need to know about, I'm going to bring it to your attention. Anyhow, I love you all. And please don't forget, get on over to restrictedrepublic.com. I really hope to see you there. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.